Hey guys, my name is Charles Floate, and in today's video I'm going to be doing my SEO for 2017 presentation. Just like last year, there will be a whole bunch of timestamps in the description down below, so that in case you don't have the X amount of time that this video is going to be, then you can quickly jump down there, have a look, and jump to the specific sections that are relevant to your specific needs. Now, if you're a beginner or new to SEO and you don't know, or even if you don't know what SEO is, then I suggest you go down to the description down below and check out my SEO for 2016 video. At the start of that, I go into extreme detail about what SEO is, the different kind of hats, and general basics, as well as have a huge glossary of over 180 different terms that we use in SEO that most people will have never heard of. Now, without any further ado, let's roll the credits. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Charles Floate. I'm an SEO from the UK that has been in SEO for coming up to 9 years this year, hitting the Big 10 next year. I've been known for SEO kind of throughout the years for my black hat SEO, but I have transitioned more to a grey hat in kind of the last 3 to 4 years. I try and get a knowledge base across the entire SEO landscape so that I can be the best possible SEO I can be, because having a knowledge of every kind of hat colour is the best way to do your SEO. So let's just jump straight into presentation. In last year's presentation, I actually said that SEO was going to be easy and that the following year, which is this one, it is going to be a lot harder. And that has become completely fact. First of all, we had Rolling Penguin towards the end/middle of last year, which took a massive hit on a lot of sites. We also had Google going after PBNs in a more creative way with expired domains, and generally just going after big PBN networks. We then had a ton of content stuff happen, which basically means that any affiliate space and a lot of even local spaces and stuff have started creating huge long-form content, which can be expensive either in time resources or in financial resources to compete with nowadays. And then we also had the addition of mobile optimization, and specifically the mobile optimization penalty that started happening in December of last year that started hitting websites, as well as AMP, which played a massive part in news-based SERPs and various other SERPs as well. I've actually seen quite a few e-commerce websites start to move to AMP, which is interesting because of the loading style of AMP, and then moving on to the actual cart when people buy in them. So we'll have to see kind of throughout the year how AMP plays a role throughout the actual SEO industry. I'm not actually covering AMP in this video. I just wanted to put it out there that I thought AMP was a very interesting addition to the SEO community, and I thought it was going to be quite cool to see what happens in the following months and years. So let's move on to Penguin 4.0, a topic that I have covered to death, and you're probably sick and tired of hearing it if you followed me for any extended amount of time. First of all, from the correlation that we've seen across tons of SEO's websites, links are having either more or less of an effect. That means that a lot of people have been building tons of authority links, or in quotation marks, authority links, and they're having a lot lower effect than they thought they would have, or people are building links and they're having a way higher effect than they thought of. This would be brilliant to see if people could go in the comments and say either their types of links are having a lesser effect or a more effect, because that means that we can then correlate data between the hundreds or even tens of thousands of SEOs that potentially are going to see this video. The disavow updates are having a way quicker effect, which is obviously brilliant news for people who are either receiving negative SEO campaigns, or for people who are getting, or of people who have just had their websites penalised, etc. And then essentially you can have a lot quicker effect by submitting your disavow file straight away. But at the end of the day, if you're an affiliate SEO, if you're a black hat SEO, etc., I still wouldn't use the disavow tool at all, purely because it is Google's #1 cleverest invention of all time in terms of combating link spam, because all Google now has to do is correlate the data of domains that thousands and probably even likely millions of websites have submitted to them over the years, and correlate which domains people think are actually bad for SEO and people think are good for SEO by looking at the disavow updates and seeing which domains are in there and which domains are not in there. So all Google now has to do is either create an algorithm that reads and correlates the data in disavow tools. They don't even have to build the artificial intelligence to be able to actually see the amount of links that are, to actually be able to read a link and see if it's a good link or not. All they have to do is create a correlating algorithm, which is, in my opinion, what they've done with Penguin 4.0, and is the main reason why everyone who was previously using GSA has stopped using GSA now, because there is pretty much no websites ranking nowadays with GSA links because of the rolling penguin attributes. I just wanted to be clear, and I know people are going to take this way out of context. PBNs are not dead, people. PBNs are not dead. They are kind of dead for me. That's why I have for me in brackets there, but they're not dead as a whole. In my opinion, and from my own SEO business, I am no longer using PBNs en masse, really at all, for many projects. Yes, I have used them for a few affiliate sites that have case studied, etc., but that's mainly because I have access to PBNs that most people don't in terms of how much cost they will cost me. So for example, if I'm getting a link from a service that would normally cost $100 for that link, generally because I have the influence and I know the people in the industry, I get it for like 50% off, so I get it for $50% or something. Nowadays, from vendors, PBN links are getting too expensive. They're either a monthly fee of $10 to $20 per link, which is insane if you want to build, 100 referring domains which compete. Nowadays, you have to build 100 or 100 plus kind of referring domains to compete in most affiliate niches. And sponsored posting, which is essentially paying off bloggers to link to you, is looking even more natural and generally can be a lot cheaper. Now, I know a lot of people have actually commented that most of their campaigns, when they do sponsored posting, they've reached out to bloggers, etc. Most of the bloggers are asking for $100 to $400 per link. The way you can negotiate around that is by saying, number one, you want to offer long-term business with them. So you don't just want the one-time link, you want to actually have the links for a longer amount of time. And number two, don't ever mention SEO. For God's sake, so many people are like, yes, can I buy a link from your blog in their outreach emails? And then of course, these bloggers go and start researching into SEO, researching the backlinks, and think that their site is the BBC and they can charge $400 a link, even though it has like 20 referring domains on the entire blog. Don't ever mention SEO when you're outreaching to buy a sponsored post. Always say that you want sponsored posting or you want a piece of editorial content, that kind of thing. Make it seem that you want to utilize their audience to generate traffic rather than utilize the blog's link profile to generate a link. Also, in terms of PBNs, are kind of dead. Expired domains are getting weaker. Google, towards the end of last year, actually announced something that they've been doing for a long time, but actually announced something that they are trying to do even more so, which is basically any domain that has been re-registered and an expired domain that has been dropped and then picked up by someone else and the content has completely changed, then that domain has become significantly weaker. It's a freaking pain in the ass to deal with all this kind of stuff, and expired domains now, for me, aren't actually worth it. Any PBNs that I've built in the last one and a half years have been aged domains. I haven't picked up many expired domains whatsoever, purely because of this fact, and also because aged domains tend to hold their power throughout the years. Well, they do hold their power throughout the years because the site may change, but the domain has always stayed with, in quotation marks, the same owner. So yeah, modern day PBNs and stuff require aged domains, they require multiple hosting services, they require a lot of expense to actually build them out, and that's why I've been doing mostly sponsored posting across all of my affiliate sites and all of my client sites as well. Towards the end of 2015, Moz did a case study in which they searched for around 10,000 different searches. All of those 10,000 searches came back with around 8% of them showing the knowledge graph, that little bit of data at the top of the search, which is technically position number 0. Now, they did about 12 to 14 months after that, I can't remember the specific dates, they did a follow-up case study where they looked at the exact same 10,000 keywords. Instead of previously 8% showing knowledge graph, it was now a massive 22%. That is a over 200% increase in the amount of search results that were showing the knowledge graph. This shows how important the knowledge graph is becoming, and if you're in any big affiliate niches, you will have seen it all over the place, with table press dominating the SERPs for so many different keywords. Often though, the knowledge graph shows incorrect or inaccurate data for many of the searches, but Google is trying to shift this as much as possible. A great example of this is if you Google Obama's net wealth, it actually shows Michelle Obama's net wealth and not Barack Obama's net wealth, which means 95% of the people who are searching for Obama's net wealth will be looking for Barack's and not Michelle's. Now, formatted data is super easy to implement, and I actually did a video several months ago, I think it was over a year ago now, where I showed you exactly why formatted data is so important and exactly how you can use it with certain plugins for WordPress. You will have seen TablePress being probably the number one plugin that people have been using all over the freaking place for affiliate products because it essentially incorporates microdata into the tables that they build. The knowledge graph also plays into a massive growing trend, which is voice search. Over the last 2 years, voice search has increased on Google by around 400%, which is massive. And actually, if you look at voice search commands, you will see a massive rising trend that the knowledge graph plays into them. Most voice searches are either questions or specific products or specific brands, which means that the knowledge graph plays hugely into those specific things. Google actually has a voice search API, which you can test different voice commands in and see the results that come back, which means if you're looking to utilize more mobile visitors and more voice search based visitors, then you can use their API to actually manipulate and also test the kind of different things that people are using for those specific voice commands and what the data is returning when you use it. I'll link that in the description down below. Now, trust and trust signals are something that still a lot of SEOs overlook. It's something that I've covered a ton before, and I have a specific page on my blog which covers all different trust signals. HTTPS is one that has been a ranking factor that Google announced about 2 years ago, and specifically for e-commerce websites, HTTPS is probably the most important trust signal that you can have right now. You also have things like your CTR, aka click-through rate, bounce rate, etc. But please don't start manipulating these. I have seen so many case studies of people trying to use things like PandaBot to manipulate their bounce rate and their click-through rate, which is just stupid. The majority of the keywords that you're going after aren't going to be 100,000 monthly searches, and it means that when you go and start putting 1,000 bots at work to manipulate your CTR on a keyword that has 1,000 monthly searches, you're doubling the amount of monthly searches which Google normally sees, and likely doing it in a very short amount of time, which Google can easily pick up on as a complete manipulation of their system. And it actually will end up hurting your website in most cases, which I've seen time and time again with people commenting on how they've used a specific tool such as PandaBot in a completely wrong way. Now, there is certain ways that you can do this, certain big keywords, etc. But if you're ranking number 18 and you're suddenly getting an additional 1,000 people click on your specific link, whilst they don't click on any of the other links across the entire page, then it's very obvious that you're manipulating their system, and it's completely against it. I just suggest don't even try to manipulate it, because it gets way too complicated, and it means that you're going to end up hurting your site 99% of the time. This may come to a surprise to many SEOs and a lot of SEOs that deal with local SEO, but citations are actually losing importance, and the overall factors of citations in local SEO sites are losing importance massively. Now, one thing I will say is that correlation between the citations is a growing key factor, but having a large number of them across your entire website is not. Now, this is from a case study that Dan Liebson from Local SEO Guide did, and he presented at SMX. He analysed the top 10 positions of over 3,000 ranking local SERPs. And as you'll see here, offsite local, links, the website, and Google My Business were the most important factors across them all. But citation consistency was the most important. Essentially, having consistent citations across the board, so having the same data on every citation, was the most important key factor when he looked at citations as a whole. So the number of citations was not. Now, that is essentially correlating as well to if you have ordered, say, 100 PBNs from PBN Butler and you've somehow managed to lose the Excel report that he has found, you're probably screwed, because as soon as a client changes his phone number, changes his business address, changes his website, and you can't update that, your Google Local My Business listing will actually then plummet, because the citations that are backing up the Google My Business data are all completely inconsistent. Essentially, the only reason you need citations is to be consistent with your Google My Business listing and to back up Google's facts about your business. One of my biggest pet hates in local SEO nowadays is the fact that so many SEOs get a website that is either 5 or 10 years old. They don't recommend to update it to mobile responsiveness, and as such they don't rank for tons of keywords related to mobile searches, especially as around 70 to 80% of local searches done nowadays on Google are done via mobile. This is simply because most people want to search for a local plumber or something, and then they want to ring someone. They don't want to be filling out some form on a website. They want to go straight on their phone, look for someone, and then phone them. So if you're a local SEO agency and you've got a client that has got an outdated website, then please tell them that they need to hire a web developer, or even offer it as a service yourself to make the site responsive, or make it completely mobile friendly if you can, and update the entire goddamn thing. This is why a lot of people aren't ranking your local SEO websites for and getting a lot of traffic, or potentially they are ranking them for desktop-based searches, but then as soon as it comes to mobile and stuff, which is where the majority of the traffic is coming from, or the majority of the phone calls are coming from, they just simply aren't getting them because of this kind of stuff. It's really frustrating, so yeah, go ahead and fucking optimize your site for mobile if it isn't already, because then you'll be getting a ton more local inquiries. Topical SEO is something that I covered last year in quite extensive detail, and something that I think is going to play even more of a role going into 2017 and the following years. It's something that Google has been getting a lot better at, and they've been actually identifying specific companies, specific brands and specific websites against specific topics. As you will see here on the Google Trends list on the related topics, if you go to top, the number 2 related topic is the Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf Corporation, which is completely linked in to this topic, as Google uses a sort of machine learning algorithm, but not a machine learning algorithm, to interlink topical relevancy via topical nodes, as they call it. So as you will see on the side here, all I did was go to Google Trends. I put in coffee bean as the topic that I wanted to look at. So let's say you wanted to rank for the keyword coffee bean. You then go to related topics and related queries, which is at the bottom. Instead of clicking rising, which is the default one that Google puts on there, you click top. That then gives you a massive list of all different kinds of topics and queries that Google put in related to that topic. If you put in a topic such as coffee bean, you go to the related queries, click top, and then you'll get a list of example queries that are interlinked to the topic of coffee beans. That is a fantastic resource to then not only do your keyword research for completely free on, but also then look at different keywords and different topics that you can then create content around and interlink back to your money page to become an overall authority in that specific niche. Because remember, Google actually uses Panda to evaluate your entire website's topical authority and then see how far of an authority you are for that specific topic. Personally, I think topical SEO is going to be the most efficient way of ranking a website going into 2017 in terms of both finances and time that you put into it, because if you become an authority in a niche, any new keywords that you decide to go after will be infinitely easier because you are already an authority in that niche. So you can then create new pages which Google automatically recognizes as authoritative pages in those SERPs. Further proof of this working is when I searched for dog food in Google Trends, it came up with at number 4, Freshpet, number 6, Tractor Supply Company, number 7, Rachel Ray, who has been linked to numerous dog food related adverts, and Zooplus, all of which are related to dog food. This means that Google intrinsically links these specific brands to the topics, which shows topical SEO in action, because Google has found all the information and aggregated it to find out that these specific brands and people, in terms of Rachel Ray, are linked to dog food, which is a topic, which essentially shows furthermore the impact of topical SEO. And no, SEO, for the goddamn last time, is not dead, and it is far from dead. On average, Google is still the largest traffic source by about 5% on the entire internet. Facebook, Twitter, nothing is going to beat it anytime soon, and it is still the best way to get the completely targeted visitors that you want. No other platform on the internet except YouTube, maybe, because YouTube allows search, but even then you have to send people from a video that they're loading straight to your website rather than the direct click on Google to your website kind of thing. No other platform on the internet allows you to target your audience based on them specifically searching for a term that they're looking for. Nothing allows you to do that, so SEO is still the most powerful technique. Maybe PPC linked into that. Any kind of search engine marketing is still the most powerful technique going in the internet marketing field. I just wanted to finish this video kind of with some additional thoughts and rants on specific topics. Firstly, can you please stop using dates in your URLs? This is something that WordPress has had intrinsically built into the freaking platform, and also some people for some reason have thought it would be a good idea to put /dogs-food-2017 into their URLs. No, that is a horrendous idea. Just put /dog-food/ because otherwise you are essentially telling Google that this piece of information is only relevant to 2017, and then when you come to try and rank it for 2018 or something, it automatically has a disadvantage in the following years. Now, it's perfectly fine if you just want to rank it for that year and you want to create a new page and then potentially throw on the old page at the other one. But at the end of the day, I'd just go with your generic keyword as the URL, because otherwise you are just intrinsically going to be hurting your page for years to come. Language style is super important. This is something that a lot of people have not covered. If you're going to be ranking a page in Google UK for specific keywords, then you can't use a US-based writer, because they're going to be spelling things differently to how British people spell things, such as colour with a U in the UK, etc. Language is also going to be super important in the following years, because it is the holy grail, as Gianluca from Moz, he's an Italian-based SEO, put it. It is the holy grail of machine learning. Essentially, the only holdback that we currently have for machine learning is that we can't teach it different language styles because it doesn't understand. You can't code in that some British people speak differently to some American peoples, and some Canadians spell words differently to British and Americans. So it becomes very difficult to teach Google that specific thing unless you're writing algorithms specifically for individual Google platforms such as Google UK, Google Canada, etc. But then that becomes even more impossible when people are starting to actually search for US-based things from those search engines. So yeah, language style over the next few months, more so over the next few years, is going to be really, really important. So if you want to start future-proofing your websites that are based in the UK or based in Canada or whatever, then I'd start looking at the overall content on them. Progressive web apps as well is another thing to start future-proofing your sites. This won't apply to most of the SEOs working on this video, because they won't be dealing with apps, etc. But people like Gabriel Mucrest, who are massively into apps and SEO, I highly suggest you start looking at progressive web apps, because essentially they interlink web pages and mobile-based apps into one kind of conglomerated partial match thing. So it becomes hugely important to future-proof any mobile-based searches that you're trying to optimize for with things such as progressive web apps. And the final point I wanted to make, and something that I stress to people so much nowadays, is please start optimizing your visual content. This goes for any self-hosted videos on your own website, which you can actually integrate straight into Schema, but mainly goes for images. Images have alt tags, they have metadata, they have EXIF data, they have geolocation data built into images. There is so many different things that you need to be optimizing your images for that a load of SEOs just simply aren't doing, as well as and also there's a myth around geolocation on images relating to local SEO. There is no correlation at all between putting a geolocation on an image that you put on your homepage and then your homepage ranking well for a locality based off of that geolocation on an image. None whatsoever. But in terms of actually optimizing your images and videos, it's something that a lot of SEOs overlook, and that you should actually go back through your website to optimize them for, because you're not only getting beneficial help when you optimize your visual properties in Google search as a whole, but actually you'll get a lot of traffic from Google Images, which is a hugely underutilized platform to get traffic from, and something that I personally have been optimizing for a long time now. You'll also then, if you actually start optimizing your images well, if you rank high in Google image search and people copy your image address and put it there, a lot of the default platforms for forums and things like WordPress, etc., automatically link that image back to your website. Means you'll get image links naturally from all sorts of places if you start doing that as well. Thanks for watching. I know SEO is seemingly more difficult than ever, and it is getting harder overall, but it is more rewarding than ever before, because so many people are dropping out the rat race because it is just getting too difficult. If you enjoyed this video and you enjoyed the information I shared, please give a like, subscribe and a comment. It helps the overall video SEO so more people see this video. And also join my free 7-day SEO course below. All you have to do is sign up with your email, and you'll get a new email every day for 7 days with a new SEO tip or technique, and a new overall of even more information to help you. If you're a beginner, it's probably the best free SEO course you will ever sign up to, because it is packed full of information that I've spent tens of hours writing. Once finally, I hope you enjoyed this video. It took me a freaking ages to finish it off. I've been Charles Floate. Peace.